Grace Srila Abhay Charana Ravinda Bhakti Anugraha Janardhan Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Nityalila Pavistaon Vishnupa Paramsa Parivrajacharya Ashtottara Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Jai Sirup Sisanatan Bhattaragunat Sijiva Gopal Bhattadas Raghunath Sadgoswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Premisika Ho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gauravatavrinda Ki Jai. Sisi Radha Krishna Gopa Gopina Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Sri Braja Bhumi Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Sinavadip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Yamuna Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Sri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Sankirtan Yajna Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Swami Tinani Namaste Saraswati Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Hastapari Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 So this evening we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, The Science of God, Chapter 11, The Perfect Society for Social Classes. And we'll be reading from text 8 to 12. It's quite a long 4 verses here. So I'll just read one complete, the Sanskrit, and then the translation. Okay? And then Srila Prabhupada's purport. Let's see what Prabhupada says. Satyam daya tapasocham titiksiksa samodama ahimsa brahmacharyam cha tyaga swadhyaya arjavam santosha samadriksheva gramyeho paramasanai Nrinam viparyayeksa maunam atma vimarshanam anadhyathe samabhik bhagho bhutevyascha yatarhata tesu atma devata buddhi sataram risu pandava shavanam kirtanam chasya smaranam mahatam gate Seveya bhanatir dashyam satyam atma samarpanam Ninam ayam paro dharma sarvesam samadho krita Trimsa luksanabam rajam sarvatmayena tushyate. Srila Prabhupada's translation. These are the general principles to be followed by all human beings. Try to hear. This is for all of us, if you want to be at least in the human being platform. Truthfulness, mercy, austerity, observing fast on certain days of the month, bathing twice a day, tolerance, discrimination between right and wrong, control of the mind, control of the senses, non-violence, celibacy, charity, reading of scripture, simplicity, satisfaction, rendering service to saintly persons, gradually taking leave of unnecessary engagements, observing the futility of the unnecessary activities of human society, remaining silent and grave and avoiding unnecessary talk, considering one is the body or the soul, distributing food equally to all living entities, both men and animals, seeing every soul, especially in the human form, as a part of the Supreme Lord, hearing about the activities and instructions given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the shelter of the saintly persons, chanting about these activities and instructions, always remembering these activities and instructions, trying to render service, performing worship, offering obeisances, becoming a servant, becoming a friend, and surrendering one's whole self. O King Yudhisthira, these 30 qualifications must be acquired in the human form of life. Simply by acquiring these qualifications, one can satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. In order that human beings be distinct from the animals, the great Saint Narada recommends that every human being be educated in terms of the above mentioned 30 qualifications. Nowadays, there is propaganda everywhere, all over the world, for a secular state, a state interested only in mundane activities. But if the citizens of the state are not educated in the above mentioned good qualities, how can there be happiness? For example, if the total populace is untruthful, how can the state be happy? Therefore, without consideration of one's belonging to a sectarian religion, whether Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Buddhist, or any other sect, everyone should be taught to become truthful. Similarly, everyone should be taught to be merciful, and everyone should observe fasting on certain days of the month. Everyone should bathe twice a day, cleanse his teeth and body externally, and cleanse his mind by internally remembering the holy name of the Lord. The Lord is one, whether one is Hindu, Muslim, or Christian. Therefore, one should chant the holy name of the Lord, regardless of differences in linguistic pronunciation. Also, everyone should be taught to be very careful not to discharge semen unnecessarily. This is very important for all human beings. If semen is not discharged unnecessarily, one becomes extremely strong in memory, determination, activity, and vitality of one's bodily energy. Everyone should also be taught to be simple in thought and feeling and satisfied in body and mind. These are the general qualifications of a human being. There is no question of a secular state or an ecclesiastical state. Unless one is educated in the above mentioned 30 qualities, there cannot be any peace. Ultimately, it is recommended, Sravanam Kirtanam Chasya Smaranam Mahatam Gate Sevejyabhanatir Dasyam Sakyam Atma Samarpanam. Everyone should become a devotee of the Lord, because by becoming a devotee of the Lord, one automatically acquires the other qualities. Yasyasti Bhaktir Bhagavati Akinchana Sarvair Gunair Tatra Samasate Sura Harau Abhaktasya Kuto Mahad Guna Manorate Nasati Bravato Bahi. In one who has unflinching devotional service to Krishna, all the good qualities of Krishna and demigods are consistently manifest. However, he who has no devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead has no good qualifications, because he is engaged by mental concoction in material existence, which is the external feature of the Lord. It's from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 18, Text 12. Our Krishna consciousness movement, therefore, is all-embracing. Human civilization should take it very seriously and practice its principles for the peace of the world. Just thus end the Bhaktivedanta Purport, Canto 7, Chapter 11, Text 8 to 12. It is entitled Perfect Society for Social Classes. Om Agyanam Timirandasya Gyanam Gyanasalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Tadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakavalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Gunatam Vitam Tam Shajivam Sadvaitam Sarvadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Bhakta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusate Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So this very important verse delineating or explaining about the different principles generally to be followed by a person to be at least considered as a human being or in the human platform. There are 8,400,000 species of life according to the Vedas, and in the human platform there are 400,000 species. That means very small percentage compared to the entire species of life that is, or that can be found in the material world. And not all of these human beings are available here in the planet Earth. Not all the 400,000 species. Some of them are in the higher planetary systems, and some are in the lower planetary systems. Two-legged, human form. So to be a human being is very, very special. As Srila Prabhupada says, this is the best vehicle by which one can cross over the ocean of material sufferings. Somehow or other, we have come in contact with the material energy, and we have a purpose, especially in human form of life, to go back home, back to Godhead, not to stay in the material world. And Prabhupada says our main disease is that we have forgotten Krishna. We have forgotten Krishna, we have forgotten who we are, and we have forgotten our relationship with Him. So in order to revive that, it is necessary to at least come to the level whereby we'll be able to realize Him and follow certain principles in order to go back home, back to Godhead. Mentions here about 30 principles whereby human beings should follow. That means either you're a grihasta, brahmachari, vanaprastha, or sannyas, or whether one is a sudra, brahmana, kshatriya, or vaishya. Everyone, irregardless, young, old, women, men, poor, rich, educated, uneducated. In the human platform, one should try to follow this in order to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead, simply by acquiring these different qualities. But then Prabhupada says that if one becomes a devotee of the Supreme Lord, automatically one follows all of these principles. You don't have to endeavor extra to be truthful, to be merciful, to be clean, to be non-violence, and so on and so forth. Because if you're gonna do it, am I being truthful? Am I being mercy? You have to count every day all of these 30 qualities if you're able to follow. It may not happen all at the same time. You may find that, hey, I'm not truthful today. How about tomorrow? Or am I not clean today? How about the next day? No, it's automatically, if one follows the spiritual path, especially as chalked out by the disciplic succession. So for an ordinary person, that means general class of people, who is truthful? Because usually truth is painful. No one wants to say the truth because it hurts. But devotees, automatically they're truthful. They're straightforward. They don't go, round and round. They're just straightforward. So Narad Muni, he recommends this to Yudhishthira Maharaj to be, at least in the human platform, they should be educated in these different qualifications. And as Prabhupada mentions in the purport, that in order for one to be happy, first you must be peaceful. And to be peaceful, you have to control your senses. You cannot be peaceful without controlling the senses. And without being peaceful, you cannot be happy, which is what we all are striving or struggling to be happy. So it mentions here that, for example, the total populace is untruthful. Just for example, the leaders of the society. They will make their promise before the elections, but then, before the end of the term, their terms is still not being fulfilled. 50% at least of what they promise. Because they have self-interest, they have self-motivation. In devotional service, there is no self-interest. There is no motivation for oneself. The only motivation is to please the Supreme Lord or His devotees. But in the secular world, everyone is promising something for the benefit of the people, but actually the promise is not for the benefit of the people. The promise is for the benefit of the person who is making the promise and still not being fulfilled. It's like, for example, we have the President of the United States. He's been here for like 6 months, and still whatever he promised is not fulfilled yet. So people are waiting when is going to happen. Who knows if it's going to happen or not, but then that is besides the point. So whether one is a Muslim, Hindu, Christian, Buddhist, or any other sect, everyone should be taught to become truthful. This is very important. This is one of the qualities of a Brahmana. Prabhupada gave a story. He told a story one time. One day the teacher told the classes, the students, to tell us who is your father. Ask your mother who is your father. So they came back, all of them, and they told who is their father, except one boy who asked the mother, who is my father? And because the mother is not that very chaste lady, and she has some lovers before, she cannot tell who is the father. So she told the son, I'm sorry, my dear son, I cannot tell who is your father. So he went back to the class, and the boy says, when it's turn for him to tell who is his father, he says, I'm sorry, I don't know who is my father. My mother told me she doesn't know. He is the real Brahmana. He is the real Brahmana, telling the truth. So in society nowadays, of course, this different mentions here, Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Buddhist, or any other sect, according to the scriptures, Dharma can be only enunciated by the Supreme Lord. Dharma tu saksat bhagavat pranitam. Only the Supreme Lord can enunciate Dharma or religion. This actually our faith. Faith means I believe today certain principles. Tomorrow I can have another principle. Tomorrow I can be a Buddhist, and the next day I can be a Christian, and the next day I can be a Hindu. This is not religion. Religion doesn't change. It's like sugar is sweet, water is wet, fire is hot. You cannot change the nature of that. So the nature of every living being is that we're all eternally servants of the Supreme Lord. Eternally servants of the Supreme Lord. And that is an eternal truth. And that cannot change. That is what we call eternal Dharma, or religion of everyone. So similarly, it says here that everyone should be taught to be merciful. If one, of course, as followers of the Krishna consciousness movement, we're not vegetarians. We're Krishnatarians. We eat what Krishna likes. So nowadays there's so many propaganda. Oh no, one should not eat this. One should not eat. What do you call it? Veganism? Vegan. They don't eat milk. They don't drink milk or any milk products. But we do, because this is what Krishna wants. This is his favorite. Milk, butter, yogurt, ghee, and all so on. Being merciful means not to harm fellow living being. And therefore, anyone who eats meat, they don't follow this principle of being merciful, because they kill. We have to eat, but we don't have to kill in order to eat. We offer everything to Krishna, and therefore it becomes purified, it becomes sanctified, and therefore it becomes spiritual. We observe certain days of the month. It's like during Ekadasis, twice a month, the dark moon night, 11th. Ekadasi means 11th waning and waxing of the moon, and also during the appearance of Vaishnavas and disappearance of Vaishnavas, and the appearance of the Supreme Lord, like Janmastami, Ramnavami, Govardhan Puja, and so on. So we follow that. Others, they also fast, but in the worship of other demigods, they fast. We don't have to do that, because as soon as we fast during the Ekadasi, all of these things are taken care of. When we fast during the appearance day of the Supreme Lord and his incarnations, automatically we do that. But we know some people, they fast a certain days during the week because they want to please some demigods. But because we worship the Supreme Lord, then automatically we also give respects to these different demigods. As Prabhupada gave an example, it's like when you water the root of the tree, then automatically the branches, the leaves, the twigs, they all get nourished. So being merciful is, I don't eat my friends. They have this slogan, I love my friends, therefore I don't eat them. Will you kill your dog? Will you kill your cat? Of course not. They're your friends, so why you kill other animals as well? So everyone should bathe twice a day. For sannyasis, we're supposed to take bath 3 times a day. For grihastas and brahmacharis, maybe twice a day, morning and evening, or whenever we pass stool. Because if you don't, then you're still dirty, you're still mochi. That is the Vedic principle. It's like there is a book written by Sanatana Goswami, and Gopal Bhatt Goswami ultimately penned it. This is the Hari Bhakti Vilas. Explains there the principles of cleanliness. Just like as soon as you woke up, what you do, what mantras you do, what mantras you pray. Pray to the spiritual master, to the Supreme Lord, how to brush your teeth, how to take a bath, which kind or type of water is the best type of water for taking bath. If you're near Ganga, just like if you go to Mayapur, you've seen people, they take bath so many times during the day, because this cleanses not just the body, but it cleanses also inside when you take bath in this kind of water, body of water. And like in holy places like Vrindavan, there's sacred kundas, sacred water, people, they don't have to use soap to take bath. But we do use soap when we take bath, right? Because you have dirt. But when you take bath in this sacred water, it is not that you externally washing away the dirt, but actually you're cleansing the soul. And as many times you take bath, then as many times you'll be cleansed by the sinful reactions in the past. So this is very purifying. As mentioned here, you externally you take bath, and internally also one is meant to take bath. The mind has to be cleansed, because the mind is subtle, one of the 8 elements, material elements that comprise the body. 5 gross, bumir apo nalobayo, kamano budir evacha, ahankar iti yame, bina prakriti ashtida. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, this is gross. Then mind, intelligence, and ego, this is subtle. We don't see the mind, we don't see the intelligence, and we don't see the ego. But the mind is the center of all these senses. And the mind's purpose is, or function is, to think, feel, and will, making plans all the time. A materialist, they're always making plans, an expert in making plans. How can this civilization build nice, big high-rise buildings? Because the mind is, the architecture, within his mind, he's trying to figure out this. But their mind is always planning for themselves. How to be properly situated, how to be happy. The devotee's mind, they don't think for themselves, they think for the pleasure of Krishna. That is the difference. So their mind is purified. When one thinks only for the pleasure of Krishna, then that means that your mind is purified. That means your mind is peaceful, and that means you're happy. That's why the materialist mind is so good also, but they're not satisfied, because they don't think for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. They only think for the pleasure of themselves or for their family members, externally, or extent-wise, to their friends and to their loved ones. So they are unhappy, not peaceful and unhappy. So it says here that everyone should cleanse his mind internally by remembering the holy name of the Lord. It's very important. Prabhupada says that of the instructions that's given by the spiritual master, the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is the topmost, is the utmost, is the most important. And usually devotees, they don't put so much emphasis in chanting. They don't prioritize chanting as the number one. They will do many things, but then the chanting will be secondary. And sometimes they will just do many service, but then they will not chant. Krishna will not accept your service if you don't chant. The main ingredients of what we do and everything that we do for Krishna is the chanting. Without the chanting, Krishna will not accept anything. It is not complete. It's like if you cook sabji and you don't have salt, then sabji will not have taste. Isn't it? So it seems to be that the namak, or the salt, is the most important ingredient when you cook the sabji. If there is no salt, then you're not going to be able to relish. So in everything that we do for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord, then Krishna will only accept if chanting is there. So regardless of any religion one follows, whether one is a Hindu, Muslim, or Christian, one must chant the holy name of the Lord. This is the Yuga Dharma. The age where we are right now is considered to be very, very difficult. This is the age of Kali, quarrel, hypocrisy, duplicity. In order to survive in the age of Kali, one must chant the holy name of the Lord. Otherwise, one will be swept away. You will just be going with the flow. The devotees, they're able to survive in the age of Kali because they chant. Age of Kali is a rush. Big rush. But the devotees go against the rush. And they're able to survive because Krishna is there by their side. So one should chant the holy name of the Lord regardless of differences, especially in other places. They cannot chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra properly. It's like in China. In China, they don't have R, or in Re, Ra. You know how they chant Hare Krishna? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. It's not Hare Krishna. And still, the potency is there. Because their intention is to beg Krishna to engage them in devotional service. Many devotees now are practicing Krishna consciousness in China, even though over there they're not able to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Where is the Hare Krishna Mahamantra here? Is there Hare Krishna? Behind me? You see? They don't have R. They don't say Hare Krishna, but they say Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. But the effect is the same. Hare Lama, no Rama. But the effect is there, that the cleansing of the heart transpires. Because the mentality of the chanter is to please engage me in your devotional service. And they chant. I've seen a video in the Facebook. There's two child. You have seen this?
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, and they were saying, please engage me. They were so so effective, and you get affected. You get, if these children chant like this, why can't I chant like this? Did you see that video? Huh? These two, one girl and one boy, and it's so amazing. It's like, if you really have heart, I think you will cry if you see that. It's so inspiring that in spite of they're not able to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra the way it is written, but they're begging. They're begging. So therefore, once you chant the holy name of the Lord, it doesn't matter what language. Prabhupada says you can even, in your own language. In your own language. So it says here, everyone should also be taught to be very careful not to discharge semen unnecessarily. This is very important for all human beings. Because we're not like cats and dogs that they can have sex anywhere, everywhere, whatever they want for pleasure. Human form of life, especially, are meant for self-realization. So when they the men and women have sex is only meant for procreation, only for procreation. That means to beget children. Human form of life is very responsible to beget children and to make sure that the children becomes Krishna conscious. It's not that, you know, you can have so many children and then you don't care whether they perfect their life or not. This is very serious, especially the grihastas. This is one of the principles that we promised to the spiritual master at the time of initiation. No illicit sex. That means sex only for the procreation or begetting a child, for the child to become Krishna conscious. So it's not very simple, especially because this is very difficult to curtail. Most difficult. It is lust only, the all-devouring sin, that makes us come back again and again in this material world. So, if says here, if semen is not discharged unnecessarily, then one becomes extremely strong in memory, determination, and the activity and the vitality of one's bodily energy. In Krishna consciousness, we have to be determined. The materialists, they're not determined. Of course, they're determined to enjoy materially. But for the devotees, they need determination also to continue on and ultimately aspire to go back home, back to Godhead. So Prabhupada says here, so everyone should be taught to be simple in thought and feeling and satisfied in body and mind. This is a general qualification of a human being. So it's not so easy to do all of this, try to follow this all at the same time. But if one becomes a devotee of the Supreme Lord, by surrendering one's whole self, Atmani Vedanam, then ultimately one will be able to acquire all of these different qualifications in the human form of life, and one will be able to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One doesn't have to endeavor extra. One doesn't have to extra endeavor. So devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the nature of every living being. It is natural, just like it is natural for a child to walk, but the child has to learn how to walk. It's not that automatically the child runs immediately. Child first learn how to crawl, then stand, and then step by step try to walk. Then ultimately, sometimes with the help of the parents, with their guide, they'll be able to start walking. So similarly in spiritual life is like that. In the beginning, we need guidance. In the middle, we need guidance. And in the end, we still need guidance from Guru, Sadhu, and Sastra. No one can go back home, back to Godhead on their own. It's not possible. We always need guidance from the beginning, in the middle, and in the end. So if one is engaged, especially in these 9 processes of devotional service, starting from hearing and chanting. Hearing, Prabhupada says, is very essential in Krishna consciousness. Hearing from the right source. If you hear from the right source, then rest assured that everything will follow accordingly. As Prabhupada says, because I'm good in hearing, I'm good in chanting. So as Prabhupada says also, simultaneously we should chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra and read Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam every day? How many of you read Bhagavad Gita every day? Well, first of all, how many of you have Bhagavad Gita before you can read? How many of you have Bhagavad Gitas? Oh, everybody. Okay, how many of you read every day Bhagavad Gita? One sloka. Okay, that's good. How about once a week? Now it's increasing. Once a month. Must be everybody, right? So, it's like part of the diet. You know, when one is sick, the doctor will say, oh, do this 3 times a day, take your medicine, do exercise, follow certain rules. You know. So similarly in Bhakti, in order for us to make progress the way we should be doing, one is meant to read also every day the Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, which is part of the, especially the Grihastas, they can read before going to work. And if you cannot all get together with your family members, then at least in the evening, when everybody is around. After work, after your meal, your prasad, then everyone can sit down, do a little bhajan, kirtan, and read Krishna book. If not Bhagavad Gita, Krishna book. Prabhupada says also we should read Krishna book every night. Then in this way, there is more chance that we'll remember Krishna in our dreams instead of having nightmares or other dreams. Then we can remember Krishna. Who was telling me this morning there is one boy, because this boy was always watching Krishna, little Krishna. You know the little Krishna, the cartoon? And at night, sometimes he would drink of Krishna and he will tell his mother the next day, oh Krishna, you took my butter. So, this is how the mind is being absorbed. The mind is very difficult to control. This is how the consciousness becomes purified if you always engage in Sravanam Kirtanam. Should always hear and chant, and then we'll remember Krishna eventually. Smaranam. So our Krishna consciousness movement, therefore, is all embracing. That means it's all accommodating, everybody. And human civilization should take to it very seriously and practice its principles for the peace of the world. As Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that one day, this will be the religion of the future. That you will see the judge, he will be wearing tilak. He'll be wearing tilak. We have devotees in India, they go to work having tilak. Of course, you cannot do it here. But you know what? You can also wear tilak while going to work. Water tilak. You can have mantra also. There was one story, there was a factory, and the factory, the owner was taken by a Muslim. And there is this one Vaishnav. He's very determined because the owner, the Muslim, says, from tomorrow, I don't want anyone to wear anything from their forehead, because many of them, they wear tilak. So, but this Vaishnav is very determined. Okay, so the next day, everyone no wearing tilak except himself. He was still wearing tilak. He's not afraid whether he gets fired or not. And then the owner says, from tomorrow, he's the only one who can wear tilak. And the rest of you know. So, we may not be able to wear tilak like what we have, but you can wear water tilak, and that is there. They may not see it, but it is there. Just to keep remind you, because it's not so easy while working out there and associating with the materialist. You have to guard yourself. Otherwise, instead of you giving your association to them, you take their association. You get carried away. You started to compromise. No, doesn't matter, okay, just a little bit, no problem. But then soon you'll see yourself losing the principles. That's why it says here, one has to be very determined. One has to perform good sadhana in the morning. As much as possible. I know it's not so easy to get up early and do your sadhana. Usually, only half hour before the work, one will wake up and then one will chant the rounds in the bus or while driving to work. That is extra chanting. Real chanting means focus, sitting down. Not doing anything except chanting, not thinking of anything except chanting. That is chanting. Other than that, it's extra rounds. Okay? Or if you have some time during lunchtime, break time, you go in a very quiet place, then you can chant. That is okay. But to say that my rounds is like while going to work and coming back to work, it doesn't count because your mind is all over the universe. Am I correct, sir? Am I correct? Your mind is thinking, oh, my child, yeah, I have to pick it up. Okay, yeah, I have to do some shopping. Okay, I gotta see him. It's not focused at all. That means it's only alphabets coming out. Alphabets. It's not really chanting, because chanting has to be focused. Chanting must be heard. One time, Prabhupada was once asked by one of his disciples, Prabhupada, what do you do when you're chanting? What do you think when you chant? And Prabhupada says, you don't think of anything. You just hear. It was Malati Mataji who asked. You know Malati Mataji, right? She asked Prabhupada, says, you don't do anything, you don't think of anything. You just hear. Try to hear the syllables, the chanting. Then in this way, this is what you call attentive chanting. And this will have a very quick effect. As Prabhuji was saying, I started in Toronto, and in Toronto, when I started there, we don't have so many devotees, so I ended up joining the Sankirtan party in Boston. I joined their traveling Sankirtan party. No one practically told me what to do and all these things. No training, but I just read Prabhupada's books, especially the Prabhupada Lilamrita. How many of you have read Prabhupada Lilamrita? You know Lilamrita, Prabhupada's biography? There's one devotee here. He watched Prabhupada's movie twice. Was that movie, the Hare Krishna?
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Was that good? Really? Any one of you else watched that movie? Yes? How many of you? So you must be inspired, isn't it? How a single person started a movement and grew to like, in which the whole world can live. A house, he built a house in which the whole world can live. So please try to read that Prabhupada Lilamrita and you'll learn so much from Prabhupada. How he performed everything single-handedly, and how he fully surrendered towards the Supreme Lord. How he has so much faith in his Guru Maharaj, and especially the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And this way we may be inspired to chant more and more quality rounds, attentive rounds, because that's why we're called the Hare Krishna movement. We're always chanting, but we have to chant properly. Otherwise, we can chant for many millions of lifetimes, but it will not have any effect, or little effect. So, to conclude again, these general principles to be followed by all human beings is meant for everyone, regardless of what position you are in the society or what class in the society you belong to. It is meant for everyone. Hare Krishna. I will ask for any questions. I'll be happy to reply if you have any questions or comments. Yes, Prabhu.
Maharaj, you mentioned about fasting.
Fasting?
Everything is involved in Ekadashi, all the fasts.
Yes.
So, if somebody's worshipping Lord Shiva,
Lord Shiva?
offering milk,
Yes.
in our movement or in our sampradaya, that extra worshipping of the greatest Vaishnava is not mentioned. Is it necessary to do that?
I would say if it inspires you in your bhakti. Is your bhakti growing by doing that? Or are you just doing it ritualistically? By rituals. It says in the Nectar of Devotion, one may worship Ganesh because Ganesh is the Lord who get rid of the obstacles in devotional service. So devotees in Chicago, they read the Nectar of Devotion when it first came out. And they asked Prabhupada, can we worship Ganesh? Yes, you may worship Ganesh, but you have to provide me 100 kilos of gold every month. Which means that it's not necessarily for, it's like, otherwise our temples will be like so many deities. Our main deities is Radha Krishna, Varnitai, Sitaram, Lakshmana, Hanuman, Sinataji, Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra. But I'm not telling that you all worship, but if there's one personality who can inspire you to make your bhakti grow, like Shiva, you worship him as Vaishnavanam Yata Shambhu. Lord Shiva is more pleased if you worship him as a devotee. If you worship him as God, he's now, of course, he's Ashutosh, he's easily pleased. That even the demons, when they worship him, he gives them benediction. Right? In Vrindavan, he is the Chokidar, Dikpal. He is the protector of the four directions, Lord Shiva. So you cannot enter Vrindavan without Lord Shiva's permission. Lord Shiva, one time he wanted to see the rasa dance, but he cannot do it because he has a male body. So he was told to do some tapasya and take a bath. Actually, he wanted to go to Radhakund. He cannot go, but he was permitted. He changed his body. What's that form, Lord Shiva? Gopeshwar! Gopeshwar! But it didn't last. He came out also. Because some of you may be from your upbringing and the culture from India. Before coming to Krishna consciousness, you're worshipping some other demigods. But we should not see them as the same level as Krishna. They're demigods, semi-gods. That means they are not the supreme. But as I said, if it helps you individually to chant, focus your chanting more, why not? But it's not meant for public, because we're known as the Hare Krishna movement. I know we have one temple in There's Chandigarh, Panchkula in where is that? In Haryana, right? Panchkula. And somebody donated us. He's a Vaishnava also. But of course, somebody donated us a temple. And that temple has so many demigods. So I went there, I visited, because we usually go for Ratha Yatra. And there's so many demigods, so when you go there, you should give respects to them also. So I was like offering obeisances for 5 minutes. So many altars. I don't know what they're gonna do about it later on, because the person who donated the temple is, the whole package is there. What are you gonna do about it? Maybe when he leaves his body, then they're just gonna put all the demigods in a certain corner. Okay? Any other question? Yes, Prabhu?
Same thing along his line, that we're supposed to worship servants of Krishna, servants, right? Not directly, you cannot approach Krishna. So aren't demigods like servants of Krishna?
Yeah, but they also have, they're not akama, they're sakama. They have material desires. They're not pure devotees. Not all of them. So, you serve the pure devotees of the Lord. You serve the Vaishnavas. You serve Prabhupada. The disciplic succession. As we mentioned earlier, you don't need to worship other demigods. You just worship Krishna. It's like if you chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, all the mantras are inside. Maha. Great. Mantra. Everything inside. So they're happy. They're happy. You don't need, otherwise, 33 million demigods, how can you please all of them? How can you serve all of them? If you serve one, why not serve the rest? You will not have time to go to work. You'll just be doing puja the whole day. 33 million demigods. You worship Krishna, Radha Krishna, Gaurnitai, Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, everyone will be happy. Any other questions? Mataji side? Yes?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hello.
So I'm in high school now, and a lot of people, when they ask me about Hinduism, they ask me, "Oh, you worship Krishna?" And I say, "Yeah." And they all ask me, "How come you say Krishna is above the rest of them? Why can't you worship Vishnu or Brahma or Shiva? Why do you worship him the most?" So what's that for Maharaj?
Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. He is the Purna Bhagavan. Others are Bhagavan also, like Narad Muni. He is also Bhagavan. He is also Bhagavan. We're also Brahman, but there is Para-Brahman. Okay? There is Supreme. He is the Supreme. He is Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karna Karnam. He is the cause of all causes. Everything emanates from him. He is the cause of Vishnu, even though Vishnu and Krishna is the same, but Vishnu came from Krishna. Okay? So this is the answer that you can give. If you want to worship, if you want to be, worship the topmost, then you worship Krishna. There's a story. There is one village person, he wants to serve the topmost person. So he went to the marketplace and he saw this one big businessman. Everyone's like bowing to him. He said, "Hey, he must be the greatest person. I should serve him." But then when the tax collector came, he bowed down to the tax collector. And well, he must be the greatest person. So I should worship him. I should serve him. But then the tax collector, he gave the collection to the main collector of the taxes. There are many tax collectors, but there's one treasurer, right? So I should worship him. But then the main collector, he visited the king, and he bowed down to the king. And then the villager says, well, he must be the greatest person. I should worship him. And the king says, yes, okay. But then the king went to a trip one day, and he went to the forest, and he met his guru, a sadhu, a sage, and he bowed down to the sage. Well, if the king is bowing down to him, he must be the greatest person. The sage, the sadhu. Then I want to worship you. And then the sadhu says, I'm not the greatest person. I'll show you where's the greatest person. He went to the temple, and everyone is bowing down to Krishna. So let me worship Krishna. He became the pujari. Okay? Krishna is Janmadi Ashayataha. He's the source of everything. That's why he is God. He doesn't have any source. He doesn't have a father. But then, 5,000 years ago, Krishna came and he took birth. And he has a mother and a father. How is that? Krishna, who is the source of everything, has a father and a mother. Because this is his relationship. He wants to exhibit this loving relationship with his devotees. We'll talk about that on Sunday. Any other question on the Mataji side? Any other questions from what we spoke on? Yes?
How can we give our association to others?
How can you give your association with others? But first you have to be strong to give association. Because if you're not strong, you can give your association, meaning how can you purify them or influence them or help them to become Krishna conscious? First you have to be strong. You have to be Krishna conscious. But whatever you have, everyone has a little bit of Krishna consciousness. Little or small or big. Everyone has. So whatever you have, you cannot give what you don't have. You can only give what you have. But whatever you have that you give, even though it is little, the more you give, that will increase what you have. That's why there is a saying in English, it is better to give than to receive. So that works in Krishna consciousness. It's like Akshaya Patra, it'll be unlimited. Keep giving Krishna, it doesn't matter. It's like there is one girl during Prabhupada's time, her name is Saraswati, and she will tell everybody, you know who's Krishna? Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It's a young child, 5-year-old child. So whatever you have to be a good example. By your good example, everybody will follow. Everybody can see. In Krishna consciousness, everybody sees each other. How you make progress, you cannot tell, but others can tell whether you're making progress or not. There's no secret in Krishna consciousness. It's like an open secret, open book. Our life is an open book in Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada's life, he doesn't have a secret. Everybody knows. everything, the whole thing. So, to become a devotee, that means you have to be open. And to be open, that means you cannot have a self-interest for yourself. Self-interest means motivation for yourself. Because if you have motivation for yourself, then everybody can see that also. Not everybody, some. Some may see it. Okay, so be a good example means you chant your rounds nicely, you follow the rules, regulations nicely, and be an ideal devotee. Then you'll be able, just being a good example, you will give your association to others. Just by seeing you. You don't have to talk. Yes, sir.
Maharaj, after many years of service, practicing Krishna consciousness, still one goes through some major turbulations in life. We face problems. How to handle those situations and how to see Krishna's hand in those problems. As devotees, we've been trying hard, sincerely trying to serve. Why are these problems coming in?
We're always going to be tested. The more you advance in Krishna consciousness, the greater the test will be. Krishna is seeing how you are handling things. Don't give up. If you give up, everything will be finished. Even though chanting will be very difficult, still try to chant. Even though others giving you a hard time, you know what? The more you advance in Krishna consciousness, you will have enemies. Because those enemies are prakrita bhaktas. They are neophytes. They'll pull you down. The more they see you're making advancement, they don't want to make you advance in Krishna consciousness. They will make so many troubles and hindrance to you. Obstacles. Mother Durga also, you have to prove to Mother Durga that you are a devotee. She will not release you so easily. Material energy cannot release you so easily. Because once you made a decision that yes, I would like to become a devotee, then immediately material energy is there, trying to find ways how to get rid of your determination. But you keep going, trying. And then Mother Durga says, okay, this person is determined. I'll release him. Okay. Don't worry. You think Prabhupada, his journey to America was easy? His preaching all over the world was easy? No. But those struggles, those obstacles are actually, according to Bhaktivinoda Thakur, are blissful for a devotee. For a neophyte devotee, he will give up. But for a devotee who's advanced, those obstacles, those hindrances, actually is blissful. Challenging. It makes them more strong. If you don't give up, that will make you more strong. As soon as you give up, you become weak. Okay? We all have to struggle. The path going back home, back to Godhead is not so easy. Not easy at all. But at the same time, it is easy. Because that is our nature. We're the one who's making it difficult. But actually there's no difficulty. There is this book by Srutakirti Prabhu. What is the title of that book? What is the difficulty? What is the difficulty? The difficulty is us. There's no problem. Everything is given to us, all the facilities. Prabhupada gave us everything to become Krishna conscious. Why is it so difficult? Seemingly, there's no difficulty. Because we don't follow the process intact. We try to find shortcut. We try to cut corners. You cannot cut corners here. You cut corners, then difficulty starts. Right? Yes, Prabhu?
I was just wondering what happens when you can't follow all these the rules.
What happens?
When you can't follow.
You cannot follow those different characteristics that we mentioned. You don't worry. Just chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Automatically, Prabhupada says, that will happen. Automatic. You don't have to endeavor. Automatically, you're truthful, you're merciful, you're clean. You actually become guilty. Hey, I did something wrong. Because you're becoming Krishna conscious. Krishna conscious means you actually seeing things. Hey, did I do it right or wrong? Materialists, they don't care whether they did it right or wrong. Just for their pleasure, just for their benefit. They will kill anybody in their path. It doesn't matter. A Krishna conscious person, you start chanting Hare Krishna sincerely, you started to see things accordingly, properly. This is what you call Krishna conscious. You feel, hey, something is wrong here. I did something which is not proper. You started to see the way it should be. So automatically all of these things will happen. No extra endeavor. No extra endeavor. Everything will happen accordingly. But this process is gradual. Don't say, oh, why am I not having it tomorrow? I was chanting, nicely today. And tomorrow I should have all the 30 qualifications of a human being immediately. No, Prabhupada says this process is gradual. It is gradual. Gradual means step by step, slowly, but surely. Okay? Don't expedite things. Don't worry about expediting. Doesn't matter how slow you chant the holy name, just be sure you hear the holy name while chanting. Prabhupada says, even if it takes you 24 hours to chant your 16 rounds, just try to hear. So everything is in the holy name. Everything is in the chanting. You can tell a devotee how advanced he is by the way he chants. And the way he performs his service, of course. Okay? Anything else? Or we'll stop here now? Thank you very much for your kind